Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. We are back today, I was about to say this week. Today, we are back for the preview of West Ham United against Manchester United. Premier League football is back. Of course, Manchester United in action on Sunday. And we have already seen Liverpool, unfortunately, they won 3-0 win for them against Crystal Palace. Patrick Vieira's side taking another defeat at Anfield. And good news, Manchester City dropped points. 2 points dropped for them at home against Southampton. Now, should have been more, in my opinion. Should have been more. There was a penalty given against Manchester City. Kyle Walker was sent off. Now, I think it would have been a harsh red card, to be fair. But there's no way I expected VAR to overturn that penalty decision. And somehow they did. So it could have been a lot worse for Manchester City at the Etihad. But there were points dropped for one of Manchester United's rivals in the Saturday fixtures. And now Manchester United go into this game against West Ham. A difficult away game, of course. A difficult away game. A West Ham side that are in form. Obviously won as well on Thursday in Europa League. West Ham under Moyes, they've been looking stronger and stronger last season. Had a great run of form towards the end of the season. Well, throughout the season, which saw them get European football. Obviously, they're without Mikel Antonio for this game, which I think is a huge miss for them. But nevertheless, they've still got a very strong side. They've still got very good players. The forward position, that number 9 position, is probably one position that they're lacking in. You saw Haller score 4 goals, I think it was, midweek in Europe. And he was obviously there before. He wasn't scoring that many goals for them, obviously. But they haven't got depth in the striker position. But what they do have is a very good squad and a very good side elsewhere. They have balance and they're in form. And this is going to be a very, very difficult game for Manchester United. And after seeing the likes of Manchester City drop points, hopefully Chelsea drop points in their game against Spurs, this is an opportunity to, gain some points on our rivals. But our rivals will also be thinking, Liverpool will be thinking today, well, we've won our game. Hopefully, we've seen City draw. Hopefully Chelsea drop points, United drop points. This could be the perfect weekend for Liverpool. But big opportunity for Manchester United. And we could be 3 points clear of Manchester City if we win this game against West Ham. So big game for Manchester United at the London Stadium. And hopefully we'll get a win. We will be previewing that game in this video today. I'll have my 11 up for you later on in the video. We'll be getting your opinions, predictions, all that kind of stuff as well. We'll be getting Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's thoughts ahead of the game too. Obviously, he's already done his press conference. He did that on Thursday. And interestingly enough, there's been some quotes from Phil Jones now. He's done a podcast with the Manchester United, Sam Homewood and Helen Evans have interviewed Phil Jones. And Phil Jones has obviously been out of the limelight. He's been injured. He's rarely been on social media. He's been protected because it must be difficult for someone to mentally take, not only are they injured all the time and their career is fizzling away as they see it, but also, there's criticism left, right and centre, And it must have been a difficult time, and it must be a difficult time for Phil Jones mentally, regardless of what we think about him, whether we think United should get rid or whatever. It's been a difficult time for him, and he was discussing how he had an operation last summer and is now nearing a full recovery. Mentally, it was difficult for him. Just before lockdown, I think he had the operation, and he said, I'm feeling good at the minute. I've been through hell and back over the last couple of years. I've struggled with my knee, and there came a point after lockdown where I thought enough was enough. I kept myself in great shape over lockdown, came back, but I remember just training out here and going into the doctor and saying enough's enough. Unfortunately, there was going to be time off the pitch. Funny how an ambulance is going past. I'm sorry, Phil. Unfortunately, there was going to be time off the pitch, which I knew was going to be difficult for me, but it was something that I had to do. Thankfully, I see the light at the end of the tunnel now, and I've been back training, playing a few behind closed doors games, and I'm feeling really good at the minute. It's good to be back out training with the lads and enjoying being a footballer again, because for the last 15 months, it's been daddy daycare and not much football. And as I said, it must be very, very difficult for him. And he has alluded to that as well. The podcast, I think the full podcast will be up soon. Well done to the guys for doing it and getting a good interview, because I think it is an interesting interview. You don't really hear from Phil Jones, and it must be difficult for him. But Phil Jones there, it's sad to see, and hopefully he can get back fully fit. And whether he makes a return at Manchester United, which is unlikely with the competition we have ahead of him, it'd be good to see him get some minutes under his belt this season for the Reds, and maybe find himself a team where he can get back to playing regular football and being injury free, because it must be a difficult time for him. So fair play to him. Yeah, well done, Phil Jones, for kind of, being able to speak about it as well, because it must be difficult, and hopefully people don't at him in stupidness. Like, it's fair enough to have your opinion, but you don't need to bloody fill his comments with it and stuff like that. It's just a bit weird. Anyway, we did have Ole Gunnar Solskjaer speaking as well, and he provided a squad update for this game against West Ham. And he said hopefully Edinson will start training with us after the weekend, so Edinson Cavani isn't going to be available. Hopefully maybe Monday, maybe he'll be involved on Wednesday, because he had a fantastic season last season. So maybe that West Ham game has been earmarked for a potential return for the big Uruguayan. The impact he made towards the end of the season when he got his fitness, because he struggled early on with fitness, he struggled with the niggly injuries. We feel now to get the best out of Edinson this season, we need him to have 100% fit and not pushing. We've got a strong squad that will cope with having to let players heal and don't risk any further injuries. I see Edinson having a massive impact because he's that type of personality and a player. He's top professional and can't wait to get back on. So we could have Edinson Cavani available back soon. But David Moyes will be hoping his side have come through the Europa League fixture unscathed. But as I said, they are without Mikel Antonio, and they did play that game with a pretty strong side. The likes of Declan Rice scored a fantastic goal for them in Zagreb. Now, it was a comfortable win for them in the end in Zagreb, but nevertheless, a bit interested to see how they line up for this one, if they make any changes and those things there. We've got to play them again midweek as well. McTominay and Donny in midfield, thoughts as United factor. Obviously, Scott McTominay has been back in training. He's getting closer to a return from injury. I suspect he'll be in this team in terms of maybe in the squad. It'd be difficult to see whether he does start, because he's obviously recovering from a groin injury. The thing with a groin injury is you don't want it to go again. Of course, though, if there was any chance of that, he probably wouldn't be in training. So maybe he could start. Who knows? Midweek. Who did we play midweek in that midfield again? It was Fred and Pogba, wasn't it? I've tried to just rule that out of my head, to be totally honest with you. What an awful game that was. Awful result for Manchester United. It was Pogba and Fred. Bruno Fernandes, Sancho, Van der Beek and Ronaldo. Van der Beek obviously as well. I felt so gutted for him. He finally got an opportunity and then he got dragged off, which was disappointing for him. Thank you very much for the super chat, by the way, United Factor. It'd be good to see Donny van der Beek involved in this game, but I imagine he won't be starting this one. And maybe now that game against West Ham on Wednesday is a game where Donny van der Beek will start in that one. You reckon McSauce could be our lone central defensive midfielder, says Ben. Thanks for the super chat. Again, in some games, I don't think he's a central defensive midfielder, but Ali was talking about his midfield as well, and he says he wants all-round midfielders that can defend and attack. He wants two midfielders to sit there and almost be two eights. So, or 1-8 with maybe, 1-6, 2-8, which I get, but at the same time, in some games, you do need specialised players. Now, I don't think he's that naive to overlook the fact. But I get what he's saying. He wants a mixture of both. Now, who do I think he's going to start? I would like to see McTominay and Pogba start in this game. If McTominay's fit, start him in the midfield. Because I think that has more of everything that you need. Now, I don't think McTominay is perfect. And I don't think he could play as a lone six against Bayern Munich or, a big team like that in the Champions League. But against West Ham, to go with McTominay and Pogba, I think that's enough to possibly win the battle. Obviously, it's a difficult battle because these are a good team. You've got the likes of Declan Rice. You've got the likes of Souček in there. But I'd be confident of them winning the battle. Now, Ollie does like to use Fred in these away games and go with McFred. Maybe that's what's going to happen. But Fred's form hasn't been great. So, who knows? Who knows? Maybe Donny could play. He came off after 30 minutes the other day. Do you know what I mean? Sorry, Donny never. Sancho did. But Donny's game was ruined by the fact that we went down to 10 men. Sancho's definitely going to start. Some of the criticism I've seen Sancho getting as well is weird. Like, I thought in the game against Newcastle, he was our best player in the first half. I think there's, obviously a pre-season. He's coming in. He's had injury and stuff. He's been unable to train early on in the pre-season. He's now back. He's playing minutes. He's getting minutes under his belt. He's shown glimpses. I don't see where this heavy criticism comes from for him. Obviously, we want to see more from him, from Jadon Sancho, but I don't think it's been a major issue. And I'd start him again in this game. You've got to get starting him regularly. And it always happens, a big player signs. They have a game where they're maybe not on fire, and then everyone starts writing them off again. Jadon Sancho will be absolutely fine, and I'd start him in this one. It's that simple. Jadon Sancho starts for me. Renato says Benrahma's injured for tomorrow, which would be interesting, and it'd be good for Manchester United. Benrahma's a fantastic player for them. Obviously, they have Lanzini, who can play, and I like Lanzini as well. Now, I've not seen anything here. I know Antonio's out, but let's have a look at the latest news from West Ham. Okay, major injury blow to Benrahma. I'm on Hammer's news here. Let's have a look. So, West Ham have been hit with a potentially massive injury blow ahead of the visit of United on Sunday. Moyes welcomes his old club to the London Stadium. Yada, 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 yada. Meanwhile, and now Moyes has revealed in his pre-match meeting that Said Benrahma has picked up a knock and could miss the match too. In terms of team news, Said Benrahma got a knock on his knee when he came on, but apart from that, the squad are mostly fully available. So, without Antonio and Benrahma, it would obviously be a lot more difficult for them. But as I said, they've still got some very, very talented players. But if you take that away from their front line, you should be looking to beat them. And West Ham away is always a difficult game. It's always a difficult game. It's always one that I look at and think, if we win there, it'll be a good game. It's a good result to win there. If you drop points at West Ham, I'm never surprised because of the fans, because of going there. West Ham like to turn it on against Manchester United. But if you would have said Antonio and Benrahma are out for West Ham, Man United have got to be looking to go and win that, especially after the young boys' performance as well. You want to see some sort of reaction from Manchester United. Let's see what you guys are saying in the comments. Regin says Sancho needs time. Let's see what else people are saying. Pogba, Bruno, Sancho, Ronnie up top, Fred, Matic in the midfield, says Adam. That is a good shout. While you're talking about players that could potentially play, let's have a look at my predicted 11, which is this one here. Now, I've gone with this as a prediction. Obviously, now you've said that, yeah. Now you've said that. Pogba on the left, Bruno, Sancho, Ronnie, and McFred. I'm starting to think you might be right. You might be right. But this is what I went with. McTominay, Pogba, Bruno, Sancho, Ronaldo, and Greenwood. Again, you've got some players that could potentially start. Fred could potentially come in. Anthony Martial, if Sancho was deemed he didn't want to start him, could potentially come in. But that's the team that I think we'll go with, or very close to the team that I think we'll go with. Varane and Maguire have to be put back together. I was disappointed not to see them together against Young Boys. I thought keeping that defensive unit together. Now look, there might have been some fitness issues there. It's early on in the season. People may be lacking in terms of match fitness and getting through games. So that's cool. But Shaw, Maguire, Varane, Wan-Bissaka, I thought we should have played it against Young Boys. We should have played it against West Ham and then maybe gone to rest players against West Ham in the Cup. We didn't, but Varane should be back in this team. Wan-Bissaka didn't have a very good game against Young Boys, obviously. And horrible first touch, second touch of tackle, overstretches, gets himself sent off. Look, it happens, but I want to see a reaction from you because you cost your team that day 3 points. Now, you can argue, Jesse Lingard did the same. I expect he'll probably come off the bench and score in this one against his club that he was on loan at last season. He better celebrate as well if he does. But I do think this should be the team, and I want to see a reaction from Aaron Wan-Bissaka, which hopefully we will. Dr. Lucifer says this is spot on in terms of the team. Pogba and Van der Beek should be playing, says David. City have dropped 5 points, says Cameron. Yep, that's good. We're level on points with Manchester City with a game in hand as it stands. This is our game in hand. Win this game and we're 3 points clear of Manchester City, which after 5 games into the season or whatever it is, it would be a great start, wouldn't it? But we have to win this game anyway. Regin says, I think Fred will play. Lingard to start. Lyle says, Ilya, I don't think Lingard will start this one, but I wouldn't be surprised if he come off the bench. Ollie might give him a chance to prove himself and make up for the mistake that he made at Young Boys. Look, I don't think we can use that against him too much. Shit like that happens in football. I thought it was awful error, and he's not going to start this game because of it. But, people make stupid mistakes like that in football games. England fans saw it with Steven Gerrard and Thierry Henry and all that, if you remember. So, yeah. Kabak says, Ronaldo pen at the death. It is written. Cristiano Ronaldo obviously coming off in the game against Young Boys. I thought that made sense, I know I thought the substitution was wrong. I would have brought Greenwood onto the pitch. Bringing Lingard onto the pitch wasn't a problem because with 10 men, Lingard's actually probably a very good player to have on the pitch. But I also thought maybe having Greenwood to stretch them going the other way a little bit because it invited them onto us. My problem wasn't Ronaldo coming off. It was the subs that we brought on. I thought we got those wrong. Cristiano Ronaldo playing on a 4G pitch, consecutive games. He played in the international breaks early on in the season, just back, all those kind of things. I thought it made sense. With 10 men, there was no point running him into the ground. He wasn't really effective in the press anyway, and it was difficult with 10 men. It made sense to take him off. Bruno came off as well. Whether that made sense, I don't know. But Bruno came off, so he's rested a little bit for this one. Greenwood didn't start the game, so he's rested a little bit for this one. McTominay just back, so whether he starts remains to be seen. Sunshine says probably Matic and Pogba. Again, that's a possibility. Probably our most balanced two in the midfield, but I would just fear Nemanja Matic being up against the likes of Declan Rice and Souček. I think the legs aren't really there, are they? Sean, how you doing, mate? Hope you're doing well. United Factor says taking off Sancho was start of the problem. I agree with that because we needed some natural width. If you would have kept Sancho on, I think maybe Ollie thought it's unfair to take off Donny van der Beek in his first start in a long time. I promised this in this game. But my sub would have been Fred or Donny van der Beek off. That's what my sub would have been. Fred or Donny van der Beek off for Delo. You put Delo in at right back. You put Pogba back into the midfield. And you keep some wide players out there. You know what I mean? We didn't do that. And we lost it. We lost any initiative in terms of pushing them back. Fred's going to play. He never gets drops, says Kieran. DeGamba says Rashford's defo going to be on fire when he comes back. Can't wait to see Marcus Rashford back. He was obviously training as well this week. Obviously not full contact training, I don't think. And he's a few weeks away from being in full training. But him being back, I can't wait to see Marcus Rashford back. Hopefully Anthony Martial can get some more minutes off the bench. Maybe grab a goal. Maybe he'll start this game. It was a consideration when I was picking the 11. But I think you keep Sancho in the 11. And I think Mason Greenwood's definitely going to start. So the only way I think Martial does start is if Sancho doesn't. And I would like to see Sancho start in this game. Digumber also says it's going to be McFred. Souček and Rice is a stronger midfield when Pogba is in the pivot. If we lose tomorrow... Oh, I'm not even reading that stupidness out. Thoughts on Declan Rice, says Nathan. Wasn't a huge fan of him about 2 years ago. He has grown on me a little bit. Whether some of the prices quoted for him are reasonable or fair, I don't think so. But he has grown on me, Declan Rice. I think he is a very good player. Would I take him at Manchester United as our number 6? Hell yes, I would. Do I think he's worth 80, 100 million? He's maybe worth about 75, 80, but... is he worth 100 million plus? I don't think so, not in my opinion. I do think there's a little bit of overhyping him, and I think when you look at the price of Camavinga and some of the other players that have been on the market, you know, I think you could probably get him at a more reasonable price. But maybe that's why Man United are waiting it out a little bit. Matic and Donny, says Sadak. I'd be worried if I saw that on the team sheet. I'm not going to lie. I'd be worried if I saw that. But who knows? Maybe it'd work. 100 mil when we paid 75 for Sancho. No chances. Buying him off a Premier League team comes into it because the money that West Ham have. But I think because he stayed there another year, he could be, you know, tempted to push for that move. And that pushing for that move makes him a lot cheaper, doesn't it? I wouldn't mind seeing him at United, to be totally honest with you. But anyway, that's my 11 there. Obviously, one of the 11 suggested before, I kind of agreed with, which we could see, which was McFred, Pogba on the left, Sancho on the right, Bruno and Ronaldo. But this is the 11 that I've gone with. Yes, RH, hope you're doing well, bro. Rashford is having a friendly in a week's time, says Shane. Hopefully getting closer to full fitness. Get hitting that like button, guys, as well. City couldn't dominate Southampton today. Our draw doesn't look too bad now, says Sibi. Of course, would have been nice to win that game, though, because we were in a good position. And maybe us allowing Southampton to take a point of us has made them more confident. If we beat them, you know, we should have beaten them. We should have beaten them. Who are our top 3 players in the last week? It's hard to pick after that game against Young Boys, isn't it? Varane looked absolutely better because of the game against Young Boys, so you could say Varane. Ronaldo obviously has scored all the goals, so you say Ronaldo. Maybe Bruno. Maybe Bruno. Connor's watching from the Isle of Wight. Thank you very much for tuning in. Guys, get your score predictions in right about now. That's the part of the show we are getting to, and I'll read a few of them out if I can. McTominay's not even fit, says Mal. Probably shows you how unhappy I am with Fred at the minute that I've picked a half-fit McTominay. Daniel says, I like that lineup. Hopefully Scott is back. Keep up the good content. Thank you very much, Daniel. 21 in his comment says United factor. How to the yes. My score prediction for this game is a tight game. It's going to be edgy. It's going to be nervy. But fingers crossed, Man United can keep their away run going and get a win. I'm going for a 2-1 win to Manchester United. David has gone for the same, a 2-1 United win in Fergie time. Get some of your predictions in right now here on AdamMcKola TV. Let us know what you're thinking ahead of the game. Manchester City have dropped points. Liverpool have won. And of course, Chelsea will be playing Spurs after Manchester United are in action in this game. So an opportunity to potentially gain some points on some of our rivals. 3 points we could be ahead of Manchester City if we win this game. Hopefully Chelsea drop points as well. We need to win though. It's going to be a difficult game against Moyes' West Ham. Now, we've got a few predictions in. Ayush says 2-0 to United. 3-0 to United, says Connor. Lucifer says 4-0. 3-1 says Kieran. 3-1 says Footwatch. 2-0. To West Ham, says Craig, but then he says, nah, I think 2-1 United. Degumba says we're winning 3-1, 2-1 United. Hopefully we won't lose or draw, says Regin. We hope we smash them 3-0, says Z. Hopefully that game midweek on a Thursday has taken a little bit out of West Ham. We know what it's like playing Thursday night football in the Europa League, isn't it? But they did win that game as well, which is... Are you doing the kickoff for the Chelsea game? I am doing the kickoff for the Chelsea game, so I'll be on that. Make sure you're joining us on the kickoff. I'll also have reaction up after the game as well, so make sure you're joining us for that. But until next time, guys, this has been the preview for West Ham United. That has been my predicted 11. My scoreline 2-1 prediction. Get yours in the comments below. Subscribe, like, comment, share as well. Until next time, I'm out of here. Peace.